Welcome to What Matters to Miss Marcy. And today I will be interviewing my friend Tasha Clopton. She's a media maven with over 15 years of media experience. So Tasha, how are you today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I wanted to interview you today because I know you have your radio show, A Vibrant Mix, and you guys are doing great things. And I wanted other people to know about what you guys are doing. So could you give us a brief history about um, a vibrant Bra- a vibrant mix, as well as what what can people expect when they listen to your radio show?
Sure. So, A Vibrant Mix is a weekly talk show that focuses on anything that affects the Black community. Whether it's something in the news, whether it's something that should be in the news, it's an opportunity for people to have a different source of information versus mainstream. And we turned three this past December, and A Vibrant Mix used to just be two co-hosts. So it was A Vibrant Mix with Tasha and Tamiko. And a little bit about the history: I was a graduate of the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, which is now the Illinois Media School. And my instructor, Trey the Chocolate Jock, who's a well-known radio personality, was in Chicago for a long time and is now a program director, out in Texas. He was one of my instructors. And when he became program manager at a newly formed station here in Chicago, internet station called Urban Broadcast Media, he sent me just a picture of the studio, and he said, "I have something for you." I said, "Okay." That wasn't the only thing I had, the only iron I had in the fire, as my daddy says. But what ended up happening was, at the same time, a friend of ours, Maria, called and said, "I have a friend that's working for a newly formed station, and they're looking for radio hosts, and I think you should apply." And what people don't know about my background is that when I first started in journalism, I finished college at 21, and I was kind of terrified to make that move, and I went into another direction, and that old fear crept back. And then I remembered the 17 grand I had paid the Illinois Center for Broadcasting. And I said, "Fool, you better get going." Make your way to this audition. Well, what I couldn't have known, nor Maria could have known, was that what she was speaking of and what Trey was speaking of was the same opportunity.
Oh,
So
nice.
when I walked in, Trey and another radio personality, Devontae Stone, were there. And, they were calling people, and they were like, "Oh, man," because Devontae had been my instructor as well. Trey said, "Look, you really didn't have to audition. But since you're here, let's ask you a couple of questions." And, that was kind of a blur. They asked some questions. I cracked some jokes, and I went on with the day. And he said, I'll be in touch with you." So the next call he made to me was, "I have a co-host for you, and I think you should do talk." And I said, "Okay," because he had seen me in school do both the talk and the music format. And he's right, I should do talk. And he said, "I met a lady who came to the audition. She's great. Her background is not radio, but the quality that she brings, the passion that she brings, you all will be a great fit. Enter Tamiko. We connect. We meet for breakfast. We talk so long, we stay through lunch. And we've been fast friends ever since, right? So we came on the air December 20th, 2013. And we, again, a variety of topics. We were on for 2 hours at the time. And things in our lives shifted, because at the time when we started, we weren't working full-time jobs. But as things shifted and that changed, we moved our time slot a couple of times. But what ended up happening was we talked a lot about romantic relationships, friendships too, but primarily when we got on relationships, it was the romantic variety. And we always wanted a male perspective. And my cousin Fred is a trucker who was off on Fridays, which was when we were airing. And he would come on, and he would come on. Well, the first piece of fan mail we received as a show was for him. And we didn't really appreciate it that much, but we got over it. And so after a while, his popularity and the mix that he really does bring to what we do, and notice those shameless plugs as I say vibrant and mix, we asked for it to become a permanent part of the show, and he did. Wonderful. And it's been wonderful. Like I said, we just turned 3. We've been to 2 stations. We're getting ready to launch on Spreaker as a podcast, so we won't be live anymore, and that's just because of logistics and life. But I'm pleased to say that I finally set up my home studio, so we'll be recording here in my home, and we'll have the opportunity to still bring that same vibrant mix of topics to our listeners, and then expand that brand to others who may not have heard of us.
Well, congratulations on turning 3.
Thank you.
And it's also amazing
toddlers.
I'm sorry?
We're toddlers.
That's okay. You're still growing.
I love it.
And it's amazing how people think of you and your gift. Well, different people in different spaces and places think of you and your gift at the same time, because of how Maria and Trey, how they both recommended you, but did not know that they were referring you to the same opportunity.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to give a little plug out to Maria right quick, because I was actually thinking about her today, and she is the sweetest person ever.
Yes.
And I need to bring her on here. I got to find out. I'll probably just do a friendship thing one day, like, hey, this is my crew. That's not a bad idea.
She has an activity coming up Tuesday. You might want to catch her. I don't know if I should say it openly, but something she's doing with her job that I think you might find interesting. So you might want to give her a call today.
Well, she actually emailed me, and I had something else planned for that evening, and I'm trying to decide, well, that other event is really not that important, so I will call her today.
Yeah,
that's not the only reason why I thought of her, but I was like, she is so amazing, and she does not get the props that she really deserves.
Agreed.
So, getting back to you, and I'm going to make sure Maria gets this and the timing so she can watch it exactly at that point.
Indeed.
Okay, so prior to, you spoke of the fear that took you into a different direction. Could you expound upon that so people can learn how fear can take you off course, however, purpose and that $17,000 reality brought you back?
Indeed. And I look at my journey. I'm gonna preface the story, the telling of the story of the journey with saying that I thought it was fear, and I thought I was being diverted, but honestly, as I look back on it, it was part of what got me here today. So I went to traditional college here in Chicago. I was at Columbia College, did my undergraduate studies there in broadcast journalism with a concentration on television. And I thought, Marcy, I'd be doing your news. And I knew that you don't start in a market like Chicago. So I knew, as I'm entering as a 17-year-old, because my mother snuck me into preschool. I wasn't quite 4. She's like, yeah, she's 4. I turned 4 the next week. But what ended up happening was I had great internships, great training. Columbia is a wonderful school. And I won awards, was the president of the Columbia College Association of Black Journalists, just lots of things, right? But I was 21 when I finished college, and I was terrified because, it had been drilled in my head that your route is going to be, you move away, you hit some small towns. I thought I would have to, be in Dubuque and reporting on cows before I could work my way back to Chicago. And that terrified me. At 21 years old, I never moved out. I stayed with my parents. So I didn't do like the dorm life. Columbia was, an expensive piece of education, and no way was I going to ask, nor were they going to do the paying for the dorms, right? I'm right in the city, come your butt home. So that's what I did. So I had never been away from home. I was terrified at the thought of going somewhere, particularly in a small space. I called my producer at Channel 2 here. That's the CBS affiliate. And he said, I told him, I said, well, I'm graduating. He was like, I'm aware, congrats. I said, I think I want to do a graduate degree in journalism. He said, why? Well, as a 40-year-old, I know that the reason is school had always been safe for me. But as a 21-year-old, I didn't know how to express that. So when he asked me why, I really didn't have an answer. And he said, listen, if you just want to go to graduate school, get a degree in something that else you like. And, that you don't need a graduate degree to do what you do. Okay. So I ended up with a graduate degree in education, State of Columbia. I was working there, finished my master's, and I taught for Chicago Public Schools for 12 years. And I did a half year at a private Catholic school. And in the middle of that, so I'm getting ready to wrap the 12 years of CPS, and how I knew that I needed to refresh my skills. Like when I went to college, and I'm not going away, but let me show you something. When I went to college, this is actual tape. Let me see. This is actual tape from when I was in college. Now nobody records on this anymore, right?
Right.
So, but what you may or may not be able to see is the award attached to it. Anyway,
it was second place.
Yes, it was second place. I mean, in a school like Columbia, I was impressed. Like I was like, oh, really? Me? Okay. But I knew I needed to refresh those skills. And so I knew about the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, as it was called, but it was in Lombard, which is a Chicago suburb, too far for me to drive. Coming from Inglewood, teaching 3 days a week, I couldn't make that drive to Lombard and back and then be coherent enough to run a classroom. Didn't work. Well, I was driving down State Street on my way to dinner, and I saw that there was a Chicago campus. I had not heard any advertisements. I just looked to my left and said, oh my God. And literally, when I got to school that next Monday, I gave them a call as soon as the bell rang, and I said, I need to set up an appointment. I need to come talk to you. What do I have to do? Because I didn't want to get to be 50 and not have taken the opportunity. God, what could I have done with that degree? That degree that my parents mortgaged the house for, that one. What could I have done with that? I didn't want that to be. So I called, I made an appointment. I went in, they were pleased. They were like, okay. And I said, when is your next class? At night. I can't come during the day. Clearly I'm teaching. They said the next one is in February. This was in 2012. And at the, we still name the cohorts by their start month and time of course and year. So I was February 9th, 2012. And I knew, so I was 35. I knew that this was my opportunity to meet who I needed to meet, to do what I needed to do, and to grasp whatever I needed to grasp. So for me, it was the thought of staying in an unhappy career and not having pursued my dreams. I'm a believer, and I didn't want to get to heaven and God open this door and show me all the gifts I missed out on because I was a chicken. So you can be a chicken at 21. You can't still be a chicken at 35. Life should have given you some fortitude at this point. Not that you're not still growing, but fear is there. Bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is going forward, even in the midst of fear. Does that make sense?
It does.
So that's where I was, and I knew I had to do it. I had no idea that the way I worked would be so impressive to other people. Like literally when I did my first rundown for a Vibrant Mix, because remember, I was the one with the radio experience. Tamiko and I talked and we knew what we were gonna do, but as far as time codes and when stuff should hit and when I need this music and this sound effect and this, that, it was incredibly detailed in an Excel file. That's not the way you traditionally do a radio clock. So I know all the radio people like Excel, but that's not the point. For me, I'm a linear person. I can't really follow a clock. I need to see it in columns. I sent that to Trey, but I keep my phone on do not disturb. And it was like 11 p.m. He didn't need it right away. I was just sending it because I was up. And what I didn't know was that he was dialing my number back to back repeatedly. So when I saw it, it's 11:30 p.m. I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong? Shoot, did the station burn down? Is he all right? Like, what's going on?
What's really going on?
And he had texted me because I wasn't answering. He said, I've never seen that kind of detail in a clock from all the professionals I've worked with. He was like, thank you. And I was like, oh, well, yay, thank you. But I didn't want to, I knew that we had a board operator who didn't know me, who didn't know Tamiko. I didn't want to wing it because when you wing it, it sounds like that. People can absolutely tell. So yeah, I'm kind of long-winded. So again, I should have done talk.
So you do really prefer talk over visual media?
No, I thought I did. And recently I've become, this amazes me, I've become the director of media at Cosmopolitan Community Church here in Chicago. And as far as formal training, I'm the only one there with that, but a lot of talented people on the team. So everybody else is they have formal training, but it's in different areas of media. But as far as the video concept, that's all me. So while we are a very new media ministry, we don't have all of the equipment that one would need. So I used to direct live broadcasts at Salem Baptist Church. We were the only live broadcast in the city of Chicago. And so I come from this elaborate system to something that we now have to build. But I get to use my expertise from Columbia, from Illinois Media School, from Salem to say, okay, here's what we're going to do to deliver the word of God to people. And we're going to do it, as best we can. And if it doesn't come out right, we're not going to put it out there. So if there's a weak skip, we didn't like how it looked. And so as a result, we're working on some things, working on getting new cameras. I'm working on training my little cousin who's a teenager. And I'm like, baby, we not just going to sit in church. Would you like to do this? And she was more than willing. So wonderful. I'm building the team. And we're then going to build the equipment and then build the ministry. So that's our role.
So you text us in between your during commercial breaks.
Don't tell too much.
No, you text some inspirational things that we enjoy reading.
So I tell my students, don't go to Facebook about something crazy that's happened that day. Text your friends. And I've taken my own advice. So yes, it's inspirational. It's hilarious. It's the crazy Steve Harvey look like, why did you do that? So I'm communicative. So that works for me. Social media was made for people like me, but I'm not fool enough to put everything I think on social media.
Yeah, that's why you don't see me, because I think a lot. And then a lot of things I just don't.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
With your video, do you prefer behind the camera or in front of the camera?
I prefer in front of the camera, but I'm learning that I'm better behind the camera than I thought. Okay. Because I had gotten out of the video piece. So I started at Salem as a camera operator. And so I hadn't touched a camera in a long, long time, other than, just basic stuff around the house. My cousins call me the paparazzi because I'm always taking pictures and selfies and come on, let's do this. But then when somebody passes, Tasha got those pictures, but I know she got them. So it kind of works out. I absolutely enjoy being in front of the camera. I'm a self-proclaimed ham. I'm not ashamed of it. It is what it is. But I discovered that, wow, you kind of getting real good at editing. Like I never liked it because it's tedious. And I'm kind of a on the go person.
Right.
So I'm like, but it's kind of fun now to sit and watch something you've put together. So watch out on YouTube for my 2 reels of bloopers.
Okay, cool, because whatever happens on this video is going up just like this, because I hate editing, and I pray that everybody else I interview going forward loves the camera as much as you do, because
Thank you.
it would just be jacked up. Because it's just going up as is.
That's
Or I can always
hilarious.
call you right and like, Tasha, you got about 30 minutes. Okay, an hour, because I know.
Well, my
everything
computer's
does
slow,
take
and I don't
time.
have no money to buy a new one, so it'll take way longer than 30 minutes. Because I'm effectively about out of memory, and it's time for a new one. But I'm like,
Can you get external memory?
I have an external drive, but I'm filling that up. Yeah,
Okay.
I have two, and they're both half full. So I need a new computer.
Okay, young lady, we're gonna just pray for that for 2017, the early part of 2017.
Yes, Lord. Quarter one.
Huh?
I said quarter one.
Based on the gifts that will, what is that quote? Your gifts will make room for you.
Yes.
And maybe after somebody watches this video, they will create their gift for you.
Amen.
Okay, so I have a couple more questions for you because I know you have something else to do.
Mm-hmm.
One is, how did you select a vibrant mix as a title?
I didn't. Tamiko did.
Okay.
So I don't know. She said, "What do you think about a vibrant mix?" And I was like, "Sounds great." And that's what we are, a vibrant mix of personality and a vibrant mix of topics.
Cool. And we know that you are now going to podcasting. Do you listen to other podcasts and things?
You know, I haven't really had the time, which is probably really horrible. But I haven't. And I do have, now they're all in my phone, but as far as actually taking the time to listen to it, because a lot of times I ride in the car, I'm either on worship music, house music, or no music.
Okay.
A lot of times for quietness, because I work at a media school. So I hear stuff all day. And so on my ride home, I'm like, I'm gonna just, me and Jesus, we're gonna have a conversation. And then I'm going to bed, you know.
Right. I get it.
But I am going to do better with that because they're sitting there, like you have all these alerts, like, so you have like 75 podcasts waiting. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Okay. One more question for you. Two more questions. What's next for, no, I had three more.
17 more, Marcy. 17.
No, just three. I promise. Maybe. Okay, one is, what was one of your favorite episodes of a vibrant mix?
There are two. The first, and I guess if I were going to rank them 1A and 1B, 1A would be the interview with Dick Gregory. Like, who wouldn't love to talk to Dick Gregory? Right. Shout out to his manager, Zoe. He's great. He actually blasted us real good on the show because that's just who he is. He's a comedian, but he's the most real guy ever.
You can say realist. This is what we do.
No, my parents paid for my vocabulary, and I need to know.
The 17,000 is kicking back in.
Just us, and we're not live on Google Hangouts. No. He was a great interview. We were talking, it was right after the Ferguson verdict and the protest, and it was just amazing. Like, I was the interviewer, but I was in awe. It was Dick Gregory.
I understand.
Mm-hmm. And then the second one was when I had an opportunity to interview Troop. Who gets an opportunity to interview Troop? Like, wow. So I'm a New Edition fan. I love New Edition. Don't ever speak ill of them in my presence. And I'm in a New Edition Facebook fan group. And someone friended me that I didn't recognize. Oh, God, I'm horrible. I can't call his name. But anyway, it turned out to be one of the members of Troop.
Nice.
And so only when I looked at his pictures did I recognize, oh, that's dude from Troop. So he had a solo album coming out. And I think he has seen that I did radio. I don't think he knew in what capacity, but he sent me his single and said, would you mind playing this? And I was like, I don't have a problem with that, but I'm talk. So, I mean, maybe between, segments. But then I said, hey, do you think maybe you all as a group would like to be in? Well, no, I asked him by himself. And then he said, well, would you like to interview the group? It's like saying, well, would you like to breathe today? Yes. And so I said, absolutely. He put me in touch with his manager, and it was great. Now, technically, some things went wrong. but it was a fun interview. It was a learning experience, and I was beyond pleased. So those are my favorite two. And then as a series, some of the things we've done, which I really enjoy, are the Black and Missing segments, because as you know, when Black people go missing, or people of color at all go missing, not enough attention is given. If it's me or you with my curly hair and your braided hair,
Yeah,
random Black girl is missing. But if I were if I were 5 shades lighter and my hair was long and blonde, then the media coverage.
We're still hearing about John Benet Ramsey, 25 years later?
Yeah, like 20. It's been 20 years. But and I'm not saying that one missing person or one class of people is better than the other, but the point is, it's just that neither class is better than the other. So if you're devoting X amount of time to these people who are, victims, then why not to other victims? That's the whole premise of Black Lives Matter. We're not saying other lives don't matter. We're saying that y'all don't seem to understand that our lives matter. But don't listen. I'm late, so I can't go on a big tangent.
Because one thing I did discover on Twitter, because I don't know, well, my friend Joy's sister came up missing, and there is a huge segment, and actually today is a year since she came up missing. But Twitter is on and popping for missing people, and I love that. Before that happened, I did not know it, but that was one of my discoveries as we were spreading the news about Joy's sister. So, and another thing I discovered too, as I was helping to, I guess, or giving my 2 cents to the promotion effort, the search effort, a lot of men are not reported too, missing dudes.
No.
So you get a lot of women reported, but you rarely hear about men that go missing.
And I just think it should be equitable all around. Red, yellow, black, white, male, female, gay, straight. Somebody's missing, that's a problem. We're supposed to go all out and fix it. But I appreciate you having me on the show. Thank you.
And okay, 2 more questions. What's next for A Vibrant Mix? What can we expect going forward?
Well, the most recent thing that's coming up is we have a special show about relationships that's going to have a video component. We will post it on our website, and it'll also be broadcast on the station that we will, WindyCityUnderground.com is where we were broadcasting from most recently. We still have the relationship. They will still get the podcast, but you'll also hear it on Spreaker. But the video component will be both on WindyCityUnderground.com and, of course, VibrantMix.com. And I don't want to give too much away, but look out for a relationship expert, Love McPherson, to host a roundtable discussion with us here at A Vibrant Mix.
So you kind of just went into my last question, was how can we find you guys? But if you can just repeat that for me one more again.
No problem. So on all social media platforms, we are A Vibrant Mix, one word. And of course, our website is avibrantmix.com. I just set up the Spreaker page today, so I can't tell you those credentials. But as soon as I get that all set, I'll post those credentials on the website.
Okay, and thank you so much for taking the time to share about your background and A Vibrant Mix today. And also, for anyone who's watching, make sure you go out and check them out on their social media pages. And feel free to stop by, check back next time on What Matters to Miss Marcy.
Thanks.
Thank you.